Hello everyone, I'm Frank, and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's hard level difficulty puzzle, and it's called X dash 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 V times 2, and it's by Nurgle's Gift. I've actually this is fast becoming one of my favorite series. I like coloring stuff, and XVs allow me to color a lot of stuff, so it's fun. Anyways, here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means fill the entire grid with the digits 1 through 9 without repeats in any row, column, or box. Orthogonally adjacent cells cannot sum to 5 or 10. So there can never be two digits which share an edge, which that's all that orthogonally adjacent cells mean. So there cannot be any two cells in this entire grid which can sum to 5 or 10. So you can't have something like 1 or 4 here, or 1 or 9, because those both add up to 5 and 10 respectively. And that's not allowed for any two orthogonally adjacent cells in this grid. So keep that in mind. It's essentially a negative constraint here. It could be viewed as you have an x and a v, which separates all digits that all two digits that sum to 5 and 10, and all x's and v's are given. But I like the way that he put it. It's just basically orthogonally adjacent cells cannot sum to 5 or 10. Digits in a cage cannot be orthogonally adjacent with a consecutive digit. So similarly here, instead, in addition to the x and not adding up to 5 and 10, for digits in cages, they cannot share an edge with digits that are consecutive with it. So if this were, say, a 6, none of these digits could be 5 or 7 because the 6 is in the cage. And that's how digits in cages work. Also, two lines of the same length and same color are connected X lines, which means counting from the bulb, the first cell of each connected X line sum to 10. The second cell of each line sums to 10, etc., etc., and 5 can never be on a line. So let's look at the blue. The blue 2 length. That means these two digits must add up to 10, and neither can be a 5. So we could have something like 3 and 7, and then actually this could be 3 and 7. Because these two digits must add up to 10, and these two digits must add up to 10. That's all we know about these X lines, connected X lines. And the 2 length blue matches with the 2 length blue, the 2 length orange matches with the 2 length orange, the 2 length gray must match with the 2 length gray, etc., etc. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay. Probably the... How to start this? Well, I see in box 4, where can the 5 be? 5 cannot be on any of the lines, so 5 has to be one of these two cells. Well, where in box 5 can the 5 be? Can't be on the lines, can't be in row 6, so it must be one of these two cells. And this one also in box 6, can't be any of row 6, so it has to be one of those 3. What about box 1? We know it's one of these 3 because it can't be on any of the lines. Well, what about box 3? Or actually, rather, column 3. These are all lines here, so therefore 5 has to be one of those two cells. Actually, what about column 7? These are all lines, so it can't be there. Can't be any of these, so it must be one of these two, which means this can't be a 5. Box 3, they have to be one of these 3, so this is 5. And box 2, it can't, actually it's rather row 1, where can the 5 be? It has to be one of these two cells, which means it can't be anywhere else in box 2. Box 8, it has to be one of these two. And box 9, there's actually 4 that it could be. So let's just mark those in because just for the sake of completeness. Okay, we now have to start coloring. Or actually, we should probably use letters to mark the pairs of things. One thing we noticed is there's actually some shared cells along these connected X lines. So let's use those. We're going to label this A. This one's, we'll like that B, I guess. That's C. This will be D. And those are all the common ones we know. So the second gray and the second orange must be the same digit. Actually, let's color them. So, we'll make that pink. We'll make this green. Actually, let's make this one yellow. This one will make green, and this one will make pink. This one will make orange. We know the second orange of the 3 orange has to be the same digit as the second gray. So these are the matching yellows, and they must be actually the same. So this is an A, this is an A. These are the same. Similarly, for the green, it's the 4th orange is a green, and the second blue on a 2 blue is a green. So this is green, and these are the same, B and B. The pink is the 4th blue on the other one. So we're going to make that pink. And the second orange on the 2. So this is pink. So this is C and C. And then we have a matching orange. So orange is the first on a gray. And the second on... No. It's the third on an orange line. So these are the same. Okay. Do they see any of the other ones? I have no clue. Okay. We know these two must add up to 10, and these two obviously add up to 10. B, C, and D have to be distinctly different digits. And okay. So B, C, and D are distinctly different from each other. B and A have to be distinctly different, and A and C have to be distinctly different. But A and D do not necessarily. So C is unique from A, B, D. B is unique from A, C, and D, and A and D could be the same. We're not sure. These two, I guess we'll make this blue. These two have to add up to 10, and these two add up to 10, but we don't know which. Where is this matching pink here in row 1? Cannot be here. It could be here, here, or here, maybe. If it's here, that means C would have to be here, which is possible. We know C has to be one of these three. Not too helpful right now. A has to be one of these three, and B has to be one of those three. D is one of these three. Hmm. Let's match them with their letters. So this will make Z. B is the green, so this is Y. Um, C is pink, so this is X, and D is orange, so this is W. A and D could be the same, which means W and Z could be the same. Hmm. Huh. What are we looking at? Huh. Okay, where are these then? Let's not color in anything except for the top row. Maybe that'll help. So this will still be that, and then this. This has to be. We don't know if this is different from the pink. It could be the same, but we'll just go mark it different right now. These match. This one then, where is it in row one? Can't be here. Could be the pink. So it could match any of those three. But it is specifically matching one of those three because it can't be here, can't be here. That means it's also one of these three. So I guess we'll make that, I don't know. We'll make this E. So E has to be one of those three. E has to be one of those three. And this is WV, I guess, to match it. But the V could be the same as the D. We don't know. Hmm. Hmm. I'm not seeing, though, the connection so much as well. I'm not sure where everything has to go. One thing. Oh, okay. Okay, so this cannot be E or green. Because again, we cannot have orthogonally connected cells sum to 5 or 10. Okay, so then this cannot be E. Um, so it must be one of these two. So E could be essentially C, or it's something else. Hmm. I guess I should use that more. So what are the restrictions for any digit in the middle is part of the question, right? Any digit in the middle, if it's 1 through 4, cannot be next to its corresponding 10 digit and its corresponding 5 digit, but that's only 2 digits. So that's not too restrictive. So that's probably not a good path to go down necessarily. Um Oh. Oh, I see something. Okay. Right. Because we cannot ever add up to 5 or 10 with 18 orthogonally adjacent digits, we're not going to act. Let's not go that way. Where is the x here in. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. Oh, no, no, yeah. These add up to 10, and these add up to 10. So the pink cannot be part of yellow or blue. Well, where can X be then on this row? It can't be orthogonally adjacent to C, and it can't be here. Therefore, it must be exactly that cell. And therefore, this is pink, which is X. Whoops. This is X. Then its corresponding one must be C here. So that to add up to 10, right? So C has to be one of these. Therefore, 5 is one of these two. This corresponds to, so let's make this, I don't know, green. And then the other green is one of those. So this is, we have, now let's make this E, I guess. And one of these is the corresponding V. Well, this is E, which means this has to be the corresponding V. Okay, and that's so we have all the colorings here now. Where is the X? X cannot be orthogonally adjacent, so one of these is an X, but we're not sure which. Hmm. Whereas X in box 2 cannot be here because that otherwise that would add up to 10. Cannot be any of these. Could be any of these 3. Okay, so in row 2, X has to be either this cell or this cell. Well, if X is here, that means C Oh. Yeah, X cannot be on this blue line. Wait. Ah. X cannot be on this blue line. Because C would then be also on this blue line. But we already have C here. So, because of that, where is X in row 2? It has to be the same as D. So C and D add up to each other. So the X's are, so this cannot be D then. So C and D are part of the same thing. So this is pink. These two are pink. X's cannot be here. X can't be here. X is essentially the same as D. So D has to be one of those three. So C and D are the same set. We have one of the greens is here. Where are the blue, yellow, and greens? They all have to be here in box 2. Whatever this central one is, so look, we'll make it red. These two match. Also, you cannot have any of the reds here or here. Or here, actually. So this one, so where is essentially the matching red one? I guess it could be the green. That could technically be the green. So the green could be here or here. If it's green. That's not helpful. Okay. What about C's and D's? One of these two digits is a 5. So at least the C and the D have to be on, one of the C or D's has to be on the 4-length gray or the 4-length orange. Okay. If C is third, that would force in the 4-length gray. That would mean D is there, which is possible. If C is second in the 4-length orange, that means D would be there. But C could also be here. Okay, that's fine. If D is the 4th length, okay, can D ever be the 4th length on the gray? That would force C to be here, but C is already here. So that doesn't work. So D cannot be here. Can D be the C, the 3rd orange? D could be the 3rd orange here. So if D is here, that means C cannot be here because they would be adjacent to each other. If D is here, though, that means this is a 5, which means C can't be there. So C can never be here. C has to be one of these two cells then. Which means D has to be the corresponding 2 cells there. So D is one of those 2, which means D has to be one of those 3 here. C can't be here, and C can't be here. So D does have to be one of... C can't be here, so C can't be here. So C has to be one of these 4 cells here. Well, if this were C, the 3rd one, that would make D here, which is impossible. So C cannot be here. C can't be the 2nd one either for the same reasoning. So C has to be one of these 2 cells, which means D is one of these 2 cells, but it can't be here. So therefore, C has to be here, which forces D to be... Wait, hold up. Yes, which forces D to be here. So this cannot be D. D cannot be consecutive with C, so this can't be D. This must be the D then, which means C has to be here. So we've matched those. This is C. We know this is C because that matches the D again. So C and D matched. Where is D? D cannot be here because that would be consecutive with the C. Could be here or the second cell. If this is the second cell, it would have to match the second cell, which it can't be. So D has to be here, which means D is the pink there. It couldn't be there anyways. I don't know what the heck's going on here. D has to be one of these two cells. C cannot be... Okay, so C cannot be here. If C were here, D would have to be in the corresponding third cell, which it's possible. C cannot be here or here. Can C be the first one? No, because then D would have to be there, and we already have a D there. So C cannot be here. Can C be the single, the first cell in a 2-digit gray? No, because D is already here in the box. So C has to be one of these two cells, which means this cannot be C. So therefore, this is a C, and the D has to match correspondingly. So the D is here. Which means that can't be D and this can't be D. The D then in row 7 has to be here. So this is D, and we know that for certain. C is one of these two. This can't be 5 anymore. Okay, what about C? C, I think we've got all the D's, right? We do have all the D's. So C cannot be on a line then anymore because we already have the D's for all the matching lines. So C cannot be here, cannot be here, cannot be here. C has to be here because it can't be on the line because then that would force D to be here, which we already have a D in that box. So this is C, which means this can't be C. I don't know how I got there. This can't be C, which means this has to be a C. These we can mark as we can actually mark them hard as a C, right? And as D's. Okay, that's C and D. Well, does that limit anything else? I don't know. Yeah, let's mark these then as hard. So this isn't hard A, hard Z, hard E, and this is a hard V. So I guess we'll mark these as B and Y. I guess we'll make that B and that Y. Okay. These could all be green. This cannot be yellow, so the yellow A has to be one of these three, which means the yellow A has to be one of these three. That makes so A cannot be here because then this would add up to 10. A, where's the B actually? Oh, we know these are the same, right? Oh, this was a different B. Okay, let's remove that B and let's label it something else. I guess E? No, we have E. F. Oops. These are F and this is an F, but we don't know if they are the same. And this corresponds to this letter. So that's U. but this is essentially one of these letters. We're not sure which. U cannot be E though. So F is one of these two. Um, so this could be 5, or it could be, okay. So D is next to A, and D is next to V. Is there anything else that it's next to? No. So yellow. Oh, it's next to, okay, D is next to V and E. So D, that means, well, D could be a 6 through 9. We don't actually know which one it is. C is next to, oh, C is next to E and V, right? So these have to be different ones. Um, hmm. So both C and D are next to E and V. So therefore they have to be different sets of 4, right? So either like C and D um, are in the 1-4 pair that adds up to 5, and then V and E are in the 2-3 pair, or vice versa, right? C and D are in the 2-3 pair, and E and V are in the 1-4 pair, because we have C and D both next to E and V. Yeah, so therefore those are not part of the same set. Um, Interesting. D is not consecutive with A. Um, it's also next to A. Hmm. That doesn't really tell us much. What else do we continue with? So we need to know where A, B, D, and V are. Well, D's here. So A, B, V, and 5. 5 is one of these. This is A, B, or D. A, B, or V, sorry. The corresponding one is here. If this is A, this would have to be Z. If this is B, this would have to be Y. And if it's V, it would have to be E. So that still fits. This is required to have A, B, D, A, B, E, Y, and Z. Okay. B, E, Y, and Z are the only remaining ones. Oh, no, yeah, 5 cannot be there. Interesting. So that means these 3 correspond to these 3. So you could have A, B, Y, and Z. And if it's E, you could have a V here. So this is also A, B, E, Y. This is V, Y, and Z. Okay, that doesn't tell us much. These digits are 5 with E, V, Y, and Z. With a 5. Which means the corresponding ones here are A, B, A, B, E, and V. Okay. Right now, that doesn't help us much. Okay, this F and U cannot be green because both E and V see that. So the F and U has to be either blue or yellow. Okay. So this is blue or yellow. Obviously can't be pink. If it's blue, it's Y for the F. Hmm. So, okay. Let's mark these as the letters then. So if it's blue, it cannot be E or V for this color. So it can't be green, can't be pink. This must be then A, Y, or Z. This is A, Y, or Z. Oh, it can't be A. So this is Y or Z. Oh, interesting. Which makes this then A or B. Huh. Interesting. Right, because A is here. So this is specifically blue or yellow then. This is the Y or Z. This is Y or Z. So one of these is Y or Z, but we're not sure which. Well, if it's blue, this would have to be the Y. Um, if it's Z, Z could be in either of these spots. So that actually works there. Hmm. The remaining digits actually in... Oh, these can't be V. So V is one of these three. This could also be a 5. So the remaining digits here are 5, E, Y, or Z. This cannot... Okay, what can this not be? This cannot be Y, because that would add up to 10 here. This cannot be Z, because that adds up to 10. This can't be Z, actually, because that would add up to 10 here. This could be 5 also. Um... Hmm. What are these digits? It could be 5. We have A, B, or V, but it cannot be A. So this is 5, B, or V. Oh, where's the A? Right, A cannot be any of these two. Because A has to be one of these three. Hmm. A has to be one of these three. That means Z cannot be in the middle. Because if Z is in the middle, it's next to an A necessarily. And that's not allowed. So A has to be one of these three. So A is one of these three, A is one of these three. Since A is one of these three, Z has to be one of these three, which means this cannot be Z here. Okay. So it could be Z here and A here. E, V, and Y. So this is green or it's blue here. E, V, and Y. So therefore this is green or blue, which means it cannot be A. Hmm. Uh, so these are two of the same color, but you still could have two greens here, right? Hmm. Okay, so these two colors essentially are the same. This is the same as that. This is the same as that. This is the same as that. That's interesting. Where is this digit then in box 5? Cannot be any of these. It matches whatever color this matches. So I'm going to make this gray. This matches that one. Yes, that one. So this one cannot be here, cannot be here. It's one of those two. Therefore, it would have to be one of these two too, correspondingly. This digit would not be any of these. It cannot match here because that would force it to be the matching one there. So this one, okay, so these two have to be the same. How do you say it? The same color. So that means it's blue or yellow either way. So then the corresponding one would have to be here. Interesting. I guess it could be Y and Z too, so that's possible. These then cannot be. So we know these two are the same. Okay, so then this has to match here, right? Because again, it cannot be orange. So whatever this is, its corresponding 10 is here. Where is this corresponding 10 then? This digit cannot be here. It has to be one of these two. So the corresponding digit here, where is that in box 2? Can't be here, can't be that one. Can't be here because if it's there, its corresponding one, which is that one, has to be here, and those are contradictory. So it has to specifically be here. So these two are the same. So these two have to be the same 10 set. This is the same 10 set, so they cannot be green. It has to be blue or orange. What about this digit? This digit could be green, but its corresponding one is here. Actually, let's do this one. So say this one. Where is it? Okay, its corresponding one is here. Where can this be? It cannot be here. It could still actually. could its corresponding digit then has to be one of these two, which means its corresponding digit would have to be here. So it could still be any of these three. Okay, so that's not helpful right now. Okay. One thing that we know about this is it cannot be E, right? Because the corresponding... Oh, wait. Hold up. That's not necessarily true. I made a bad assumption there. It could actually be here. So it could be either of these two. It cannot be that one, though. Oops. Huh. So it's not guaranteed. This could be green. Oh, these can't be V. That's good to know. These can't be V. Since neither of these could be V, neither of these can be E. So E has to be either here or here. Oh. Huh. That means this is blue or orange. So that means that's blue or orange. That means this is blue or orange, and that's blue or orange. So these have to be... Okay. Right. So that's actually very important. Since neither of these can be B... why did we eliminate Z here? Oh, because it can't be... Yeah, so therefore this can't be A. I guess that's similar, right? Z has to be one of these three. If A is here, that doesn't work. So neither of these can be V, though. That's very important. So since neither of these can be V, that means E cannot be either of these two, right? That corresponds with it. Which means, okay, so let's remove the gray. This cell has to be the same as this cell. So the rest of the cell cannot contain that color. But it cannot be E or V. Can't be, because V can't be here, which means E can't be here. V can't be here because V is one of these two. So this is a blue or yellow. This also matches here because it can't be E or V, but it's a different color. So we're going to make that orange. And it cannot match the red. So one of these is blue or green. The other one is also blue or green. We just don't know which one's which. Okay, so this cannot be the corresponding... Okay, so this can't be red. Where is the corresponding red? It's either cannot be here, cannot be here, cannot be here. So the corresponding red has to be one of these two. And it could be... Okay, so this one then could be any of these three. Cannot be here, cannot be here. Where is this corresponding orange? It's one of these two. Huh. That doesn't tell us very much. Oh, wait. No, this cannot be red. Right? We know it's not a green. A or B, A, B, Y has to be yellow or blue. So this one, this corresponding letter, cannot be either of these two. Because, well, can't be any of these three because it's in the column. But also can't be here because then this would add up to 10. Can't be this one because it's a separate one. There, and it can't be green or 5. So it must be this one. So this must be then B, Y, and Z. Since this is B, Y, and Z, this has to be A, B, or Y. So this is the corresponding red. Where is the B, Y, Z? It's one of these two. And then the A, B, Y is one of these two. This also, the the corresponding different one has to be one of those two. What happens if it's here? Say this is the green, right? If this is green and this is green, I guess 5 could be one of these. So the corresponding orange for this one has to be one of these two. We also know, actually, the yellow and the blues are opposite sets too, because the pink and the greens are opposite sets. That means the yellows and blues have to be opposite sets also. So this actually doesn't matter for this. That's fine. If this is orange, this has to be the corresponding orange. So that's 5. If this is orange, it could be either of these. That's fine. So basically any of these 3. It cannot be that one, obviously. Oh, this can't be a 5. And it can't be the red, and it can't be the orange. Right? Because this one has to correspond to that. Because it can't be any of this. This red cannot be here, cannot be next to the other red, and can't be green, so it has to be here, which forces that to be red. This cannot be red. This can't be 5 either. This has to be a green, but we don't know which one. So this is E or V. Well, this can't be E then, which forces this to be Y or Z, which means this can't be V. This is A or B. So now we have an A-B pair now in column C, or 3. So the rest of the column is V, Y, and Z, and 5. And this could be 5 here. So V, Y, and Z matches with A, B, or E. So this is A, B, E, which works for any of those. This Y, Z, or V matches with A, B, or E, but it cannot be A. So this can't be Z then. This cannot be blue, but it could be yellow, green, or 5. This cannot be E. If this is E, that means one of these two would be V, and therefore they would add up to 10. So this is not E, which means this is V or Y. What does this mean? That means this cannot be V correspondingly. So this is B or E. This is V or Y. This is green. This cannot be green, right? Because it would be then adding a 10 here. Therefore, the 5 and the green both have to be here. This has to be a red, right? And it's then the ABY red. Oops. Yeah. A, B, or Y. Which means this cannot be the corresponding red. Actually, none of these could be the corresponding red. I don't even know how I had two reds there. That's weird. This is 5 or E or V. So this is green or 5 EV. We're not sure. Since this is A, B, or Y, the third one must be correspondingly B, Y, or Z, right? Well, cannot be Z. Therefore, it's B or Y here, which means this is blue. So the reds are essentially blue. So this is B or Y here. This is B or Y. This has to be B or Y. This is B or Y, and this is B or Y. So none of these can be B or Y. So this has to be yellow. This is yellow. This is A or Z. This is yellow. And A or Z. Z cannot be here. Z is one of these two. A is one of these two also. Hmm. This is 5 or V. This is yellow. It's next to both blues. But we know blues and yellows are opposite sets, so that's fine. Hmm. Hmm. We have 5A here, 5A, E, and Z. Can it be V? Yes, it could be V also. This cannot, oh, these can't be A here. So this is V or Z, which means this can't be Z here. So Z is one of those two. Z cannot be here because one of these must be Z to correspond with A. This can't be A anymore. This cannot be blue. Okay, well, we already knew that. What could it be? It could be green or yellow. So this is green or yellow. This is green or yellow. This could... Oh, this can't be blue either. If this is blue, it fails. So then this is green or yellow. Okay, we're going to color those different then. This is... So we're going to mark this, I don't know, as red, I guess. This would be corresponding red. This would be orange with corresponding orange. And neither of them can be blue. So one is green, one is yellow, but we're not sure which is which. This is V or Y. V is green, Y is blue. So this is green or blue. If this is... Okay, this can't be blue because we have a BY next to it. So this must be green, which is V. So this must be E then. This can't be E. This is 5 or V here. This corresponding one then must be E. So this is E, which makes that green. Therefore, E cannot be here. V cannot be the rest of these cells. So this is Y or Z, which would be next to A or B. This cannot be blue. That means this can't be blue. It cannot be green because it's next to a green. So it has to be yellow, right? Because it can't be pink, can't be green, can't be blue, so it must be yellow. So this is yellow, which makes this A or Z. It's still, actually, no, it has to be, yeah, A or Z, which makes this A or Z and is a yellow. This is blue or green. This is blue. Okay, so this can't be yellow. This has to be blue. This can't be yellow, so it must be blue. Which means it cannot be A here. It has to be B. Therefore, this is what? Y? Yes, it has to be Y, which means this can't be Y. Z could be either of these. Um, hmm. Hmm. E has to be one of these two cells. No, we already knew that. That's not helpful. um, hmm. Okay. A is one of these two cells here. Aha. Okay, that's where it is. A, where can A be in column in this box? It has to be one of these two cells, which means this can't be A. This has to be B, which makes this a Y, this an A. So none of these could be A here. This is now blue, so it cannot be, which means this is B. That corresponds to a Y here. And therefore this is Y. So this cannot be the blue then. This has to be blue. This is Y, this is Y. We don't care what that is. Z has to be here. This can't be B, so this is Y, which makes this B, which makes that Y, which makes that a B. Therefore, this is a B too. And that corresponds to the Y. Yep. This is A or Z still. This is A or Z. This is not blue. This is A. B cannot be here. So this is 5 or V. This is now 5B or V. Both B and Y are next to C and D. So therefore, the blue and the greens match as the 1-4 pair or the 2-3 pair. And the pinks and the yellow match, but the yellow has to be the high digit. So the yellow has to be high. So this is essentially the 6 through 9 here of the yellows. Because if it wasn't, we know the pinks match with the yellows because there's no 5s that are adjacent to each other because the blues cannot match with the pinks. Both of the greens cannot match with the pinks. It must be yellow matching with the pinks. So Z is the low yellow. So this is the low yellow. A can match. Okay, so A can match with. Oh, so if this were A, that would force this to be Z. But then they would both be surrounding D? That's okay, actually. As long as they're not both surrounding C also somewhere. Right, so these are A. This is A and this is Z. B cannot be here. So where is the B now in box 1? It has to be here. So this is B, this is the blue. Blue, okay. Again, blue and pink cannot be the set adding up to 5. Pink and green cannot be adding up to 5. Therefore, this could be E, as long as E is the high version. Blue and green are a 1-4 or 2-3 pair, and yellow and pink are a 1-4 or 2-3 pair. This can't be B, this must be an E. So this can't be blue, this is green, which forces this to be green. So this is a V, which means V cannot be either of these. E cannot be next to it, so where is the E? E has to be here. This cannot be E anymore. This can't be Y, so this is 5 or Z. This is 5 or Z. This can't be Y. Where is the Y then in box 3? It has to be here. So this is Y, which makes that a blue. This can't be Y, so this must be Z. Oh, well, we already knew that. That was A. Okay. Yep. So this is yellow. Z cannot be here in this column, so this must be an E and Z pair. Well, yellow could be next to both blues. Because again, blue and green are pair, and yellow and pink are pair. But, well, D could be the high. Yeah. So this is Z, which is the low. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. So Z cannot be next to... Okay, so this can't be E. It cannot be V because of both possibilities there. So it could be A or B here. Well, we know this is Y, so therefore this is B, which makes that blue. The remaining digit cannot be 5, so this is a 5 here, and this must be A, which is the yellow 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we can just delete that. This is A, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's fine. So this is E or Z here. Therefore, this must be A or V. This is A or V, this is A or V. And these are both A or V. So they see this cell. This can't be A or V, cannot be B, E, C, D, or Y. What can it be? It could be Z, 5 or Z, I think, right? No A, no B, no C or D, no E. It cannot be V. Right, because these both have to be easy. The corresponding ones have to be A and V. And they have to be different, obviously. Again, this can't be A, can't be B, can't be C or D, can't be E, can't be V, can't be Y. It must be 5 or V. So this is also 5, sorry, 5 or Z, which means this cannot be a Z because we have a 5Z pair in the rest of the row. So this must be then an A. So this is A, this is V, this is A, which makes this Z. That's correspondingly, and that works. This can't be Z, so this is 5, which makes that Z, which makes that 5, which makes that Z. This can't be E because of that E, so this must be Z, which makes that A, therefore that's an E. That makes this a Z, which makes that a V. There is no V or E, so this is a 5 then. This is an A. This can't be 5. This has to be 5. This can't be Z. This is an E. That corresponds to the V correctly. So the oranges are greens. And the reds are yellow. This is a Z. This is an A. Not Z, an A. Those are all yellow. A's are all yellow. So those are the A's. These are the Z's. All the A's are 6 through 9. All the Z's are 1 through 4. Okay, let's see. And the yellows are in the greens match. So this cannot, okay, wait, yeah, this is yellow A. So E has to be the high green. So let's delete those, delete. Those are E's. And they must be green. Therefore, the E's are the highs of the greens because they're next to 1, 2, 3, 4, the Z. So the V's are the lows, but we don't have very many V's. Okay, we have a decent amount. Interesting. So these are V's, and they're the green ones, and those are the lows. Wait, that doesn't work. We have a contradiction because we're next to a Z. Ooh, this is not good. That's not good at all. Okay, we messed something up. I'm not sure where. Oh, wait, hold up. No, pinks are with... Wait, no, pinks can... Pinks are with the... Okay, so that's where we messed... Okay, never mind. We're still okay, I think. We're going to mark the E's as green. This can't be 5 anymore, so this is 5, which is not green. So this has to be V. And this can't be V, so it's 5. Where is the V in box 8? It has to be here. So this is V. This can't be 5, so this is Z, which makes this a 5. So this is the yellow. This has to be... We have A, B. This is E. So this is E and green. This has to be A in yellow. This is V in green. Okay, again, okay. I think I had it backwards. So let's see. V's are green. This can't be V, so this must be 5, which makes this a V in green. The remaining digits here, we're looking for B, so this is B, which is blue. And this must be... This digit is Y in a blue. This must be E and a green. Okay. Pink is next to green and blue. So Z is the yellow and pink are the 1-4 pair. So D cannot be the low. It has to be the high. So D's, oh, those are all interesting. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9. All the C's, which matches that, which have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And they cannot be next to a Z, which I don't think any of them are. All the A's are 6, 7, 8, 9. Z, we can delete this then. This is a Z. And this is 1 through 4. Right? Okay, so now we have E's and V's and B's and Y's. Which one is... C's the other two for those. V is next to B. B is also next to E. So B has to be the high blue. And Y must be the low blue. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, and they're Y. V's. Okay, so who's next to the Y? V's are next to the Y's, so V's have to be the high greens. And E's have to be, so this is the high green. Okay, so this is 6, 7, 8, 9. E's are the low greens, right? And then the greens, again, greens and blues are next to are the combos. And yellow, yellow and which one else? So yellow cannot be 6. So the A's cannot be 6. Cannot be 6. And they can't be, was it yellow? That means Z's cannot be 4. Not be 4. Pink cannot be next to blue, and pink cannot be next to green. So pink are next to yellow, which means the pinks are not 1 or 9. Okay. Okay, so pink and yellow cannot be next to each other for the highs. So it cannot be 7 and 8. Therefore, the pinks must be 6 and 4. So these D's are 6. The C's are 4, which means the yellow Z's are 1s, and the yellow A's are 9. Right? Because 6 and 9 cannot be next to each other. Therefore, The remaining 6 through 9s have to be 7 and 8s, and the remaining 1 through 4s must be 2 and 3. Well, 6 cannot be consecutive with 7, so therefore the V's must be the 8s. So the V's are the 8s, which means the E's are the 2s. And the B's must be 7. Oops. So this is 7, and the Y's must be 3s. That's how you solve it. We celebrate because we finished. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess I do a lot more lettering in these type of puzzles because you don't have as much certainty about where certain colors are, right? So you have to basically go to lettering a little bit more. And that allows us to clear things a little bit easier too. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.